Hi Whovians, Harry here, and welcome to my review of the fourth episode of Season 1 of Doctor Who, the episode 73 Yards. And this was Doctor Who's attempt at Welsh folk horror, and apparently what Russell T Davies described as his best writing for Doctor Who yet. So, was this episode a success or a failure? Did it have that Welsh folk horror vibe? And also, was it some of Russell T Davies' best writing? Well, that is what this video is going to cover. But before I get into that, don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a like and comment down below. And let's get in to the video. So, of course, spoiler warning for the episode 73 Yards. So, the plot of this episode is basically that the Doctor and Ruby land on this Welsh cliff top, and then they run into like this circle, and the Doctor accidentally stands on it and breaks it. And this Doctor just needs to watch where he's going, because this is the second time, 2 episodes now in a row, where the Doctor has stood on something within like the first couple of minutes. He just needs to watch where he's going. But he breaks that. Ruby reads like this scroll about Mad Jack, and the Doctor goes missing, and this woman starts following Ruby, but she's always 73 yards away from Ruby at all times, apart from at the end, but I'll get into that a bit later. So she basically has to leave the TARDIS because the TARDIS has shut her out. She can't get into it. The Doctor has gone missing. So she goes back to London. However, that doesn't go well. Her mum kicks her out for reasons I will get into later. And she can't find any new allies because of the 73 yards woman. And she basically ages to 25, 30, 40, and then she defeats Roger ap Gwilliam, who is the new Prime Minister in 2046. She defeats him with the help of the 73 yards woman. Then she ages on to 80, and then she dies probably between 80 and 85, probably that area. And then she gets sent, and then we go back to the start of the episode, and the 73 yards woman warns Ruby, kind of like whispering through her mind to her to say to the Doctor to not step on the circle. Ruby warns him about the circle, he doesn't step on it, and then the timeline is back to normal, and it's basically how this episode never happened for Ruby, because she forgets the events of this episode, and we are back to the start of the episode where this episode started. So yeah, that's the main plot of it, and as you can probably tell, it's a bit confusing. So let's dive deeper into this. So, going deeper into 73 yards, of course, Russell T Davies has set up this episode as folk horror from the very start, because there is no title sequence, which is extremely rare for Doctor Who. There is at least a title sequence, like, in every episode. I know in episode 1 of this series, Space Babies didn't have a cold open, but this episode doesn't even have a title sequence, whereas Space Babies did. So, even though Space Babies and 73 Yards are different, they are still kind of connected in this weird, like, one doesn't have a cold open and one doesn't have a title scene or a cold open. And, of course, it's very much that Russell T Davies has wanted to lead into this folk horror, that something is uneasy and off about this episode, which I think he establishes really well without a title sequence. And going through this, the design and the cinematography in this episode is amazing, even though it's a very more like, the setting is very grounded. Not the premise, but the setting is very grounded. It's like in Wales, in London, it's nothing big. There's no massive monster, but the cinematography is still amazing, and just the setting, like the circle is so intricate and like delicate, and it's just like so cool that the amount of time and effort it just goes into creating just a couple of like shots that are in the episode for just a few seconds. The Doctor Who team is just works wonders and is dedicated. But of course, the main premise is that the Doctor steps on on the circle, which apparently gets rid of him. I don't know where he went, or like what happened. Like at the end of the episode, it seems like they've just gone back to the start and like nothing. Like from them landing and stepping out of the TARDIS, and then the timeline like reset to them just stepping out of the TARDIS. So it's weird. So I don't know what happened to the Doctor, where he went, if he even remembers anything about the timeline. I don't know. And Ruby gets stalked by this 73 yards away woman whoever talks to the 73 yards woman goes mad and turns against Ruby. And it's just amazing. It's set up so like at the start, just this guy in the pub, Josh, goes to talk to. Oh well, actually, first of all, we see Susan Twist, yes, making her 6th appearance in this episode. Last time she was the Valengard ambulance. So the Doctor will know who Susan Twist is, and now Ruby has seen her face. So next time we see Susan Twist, and the Doctor and Ruby even just glancing at her, they should know that she has appeared in their previous adventures. Because before Boom and 73 Yards, it was easy to overlook it, because Ruby and the Doctor have only had quick glimpses of Susan Twist's other characters. But now they have seen her face fully, so they have to know who she is when they see her next. So she might not appear in Dot and Bubble or Rogue, but we do know 100% that she will appear in either The Legend of Ruby Sunday or Empire of Death, if not both episodes. Maybe even as the same character, as that's like the penultimate and the final episode. However, in this episode, Susan Twist just seems like a normal hiker, because she goes to talk to the 73 Yards woman when Ruby asks her if she would, and she goes crazy. She like screams and runs away. And it sets it up so well, because then we have this guy from the pub, Josh, goes to talk to the 73 Yards woman when Ruby asks him again, and he screams and runs away. And everyone notices that, like, that was weird, because it was like, as the boy in the pub explains, he ran away like the demon was up his bum or something like that. It was just, yeah, the 73 Yards lady definitely says something demonic to the people that talk to her, and it sets up how Ruby defeats Roger Ap Gwilliam later in this episode, which is so good. But moving through this, the 73 Yards woman has made it hard for Ruby to make allies, and she gets kicked out of the pub that she was staying in. And she decides, oh well, she'll have to go back to London, back to home, because of course she couldn't go to the TARDIS because the TARDIS wouldn't let her in. So she goes back to London, back to home, and the 73 Yards woman is following her, and it's seen on the train scene, and that is only a couple of seconds of footage, and it took ages, known from Doctor Who Unleashed. So again, dedication from the Doctor Who team is amazing. This whole episode looks wonderful. So she arrives back home, and her mum, Carla, comes up with a plan to see what the 73 Yards woman is saying. However, Carla approaches the 73 Yards woman on the phone to Ruby. However, Ruby can't hear down the other end of the phone what is being said by the 73 Yards woman. And this is when Carla screams and runs away. And this is the first time that we notice that not only have the people are just screaming and running away, they are turning against Ruby, because as Ruby runs after her mum Carla, we see her look at the 73 Yards woman, look back, a taxi passes through, and her mum has left her. and just the look in her eyes is like she is disgusted in Ruby. And we hear later on a phone call between them that she doesn't want her, and she says that even her own mum didn't want her, and that just hurts. And I don't know what the snow is to do. Like, it always seems when Ruby is in a difficult situation, in Devil's Cord when she was bound by Maestro, and in Boom when she was dying, it started to snow. And in this episode, when she is locked out of the flat by her mum, it starts snowing. So, will snow be the one thing to help Ruby in a difficult situation in Empire of Death? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But it turns out that Ruby is not entirely on her own. At least, not yet. Because we see Kate Stewart. Yes, that is right. Kate Lethbridge Stewart, the runner, the head of unit. She makes her return from being seen last in The Giggle, and it's just amazing to see her amazing to see her return. We know that we will be seeing her later in this series, probably Empire of Death, but it's amazing to see her return. Unfortunately, again, she doesn't get much to do in this episode, because she has a conversation with Ruby about the 73 Yards woman, and through 2020 vision, you can see that there's definitely a woman there. However, you can't see her face. It's too blurry from 73 yards away. And even when someone gets up close and takes a picture, the photo is still blurry. So maybe the woman, is actually, there is no physical form for her. She just looks like a woman, but there is no actual woman there. But anyway, the unit can't take a picture of her, can't see what exactly she looks like, but Kate Stewart decides that they can take her in, and she mobilises unit to take in the 73 Yards woman in. However, when they get close, something happens, and this is just, it's like chilling, because Kate can hear what the 73 Yards woman is saying in her earpiece, and the slow turn and look to Ruby she does is just chilling. And Kate and the whole unit, they don't run away screaming, but they get up and leave straight away, just go, and nothing Ruby can say to stop them. And just like that, she has no allies at all. And then the next scene that follows is Ruby aging up. Ruby from 19 or 20 to 25, 30, 40. And I will just say, she does not look 30 when she's supposed to be 30, and she does not look 40 when she's supposed to be 40. She has a different hairstyle and glasses, and doesn't look 40. She looks 20, but with a different hairstyle and glasses. It just breaks the immersion a bit, because you're supposed to believe that Ruby has been on Earth without help, without the Doctor, for 20 years, and she looks basically as young as she does at the start of this episode. It just breaks the immersion. But moving past Ruby being a 40-year-old that looks like a 20-year-old, good moisture routine, must ask her for that. Moving past that, when she's 40, we see that she's been going on dates and just try to live her life as normal. However, on one date when she is 40 years old, she hears a broadcast of Roger Ap Gwilliam preparing to be the Prime Minister. And she remembers the Doctor's words from the start of this episode that Roger Ap Gwilliam was the worst Prime Minister ever. I mean, Doctor, are you forgetting that Harold Saxon the Master literally destroyed like a third of the population of Earth, or a tenth, or whatever it was? Anyway, apparently Roger Ap Gwilliam is worse, and that is because we learn that he is apparently wanting to get his own nukes. Which, I mean, you can fill in the blanks there. But the way Ruby enters this world of Roger Ap Gwilliam is great, because she enters this campaign hall, and it's like a long take of just the camera following Ruby through, following her around, panning around from the back of Ruby all the way around to the front. And it's this great long take. And then when Ruby is asked, saying what she'll do, she says that she can even hold the coats. And it cuts to her holding coats. And that is just really good. Again, cinematography, great. And then moving past this, we get to this football stadium, and where Roger Ab Gwilym is going to announce to the world his that he has control on nukes. And Ruby uses the football field and the 73 yards as a kind of way to get the 73 yards woman next to Roger Ab Gwilym, because he is standing one end and she can position the 73 yards woman, because now she has had 20 years to be able to control the woman to wherever she wants her to go, as long as it's 73 yards away, that she manages to control her right next to Roger Ab Gwilym. She says whatever she says, and that sends him mad. He runs away screaming, he resigns from Prime Minister, and the world is saved. And the reason that Ruby was so easily able to handle Roger Ab Gwilym is because he is Mad Jack. The name that was at the circle that Ruby read out, Mad Jack, that was Roger Ab Gwilym's nickname. And the 73 yards woman was obviously, over this circle. And they have finally defeated Mad Jack. And you think this is where the episode is going to end, this is where the Doctor is going to come back. However, it doesn't. It keeps on going. And this is weird, because, Mad Jack is defeated. That was the whole point of the episode, right? Apparently not. So, then we cut to 40 years later, where Ruby is 80, and she looks like an 80-year-old now. Yes, the immersion is finally back. The person playing 80-year-old Ruby actually looks 80. She still actually looks quite good for 80, but she still does look 80. But then she's with, I don't know whether this is a carer, a distant relative. Maybe she did finally find a man to spend time with and they had a child, but it doesn't seem like it seems like there's too much of a careness for a carer, but too distant for a daughter or granddaughter. Anyway, they visit the TARDIS on the cliff top where it has been for all these years, for 60 years, and then they just have a quick little thing, and the 73 yards woman is still following Ruby, and then we cut to Ruby in a hospital, or a hospice where she is going to die, and then we see the lights flickering, and the 73 yards woman getting closer and closer to Ruby, and Ruby reaches out her hands to touch her, and then it cuts to the start of this episode with Ruby reaching out her hands, just like the 73 yards woman. So, did Ruby become the 73 yards woman? The actor for old Ruby and the 73 yards woman are different. They're different actors. They're not the same. They could have made them the same if the point was for old Ruby to be the 73 yards woman, but they're not. And also, how did she get there? Why did the 73 yards woman think, yeah, you're on the brink of death, now you can, be me? Does Ruby take over that place? Does she inhabit the body of the 73 yards woman? But, old Ruby or the 73 yards woman whispers to young Ruby to stop the Doctor from stepping on the circle, which she does, and then they just run off down the hill to, I don't know, do whatever they were going to do, and this is where the episode ends. But, who is the 73 yards woman? What was she saying? That is never revealed, not even in Unleashed. Also, why did the Doctor disappear? I know because he stepped on the circle, but why? And also, why was Ruby cursed? Well, because she read Rest in Peace, Mad Jack? That was the only way she knew that Roger Ab Gwilym was a true threat. Yes, the Doctor's words also helped, but Mad Jack is what sent the shiver down her spine. So was the 73 yards woman there to protect Mad Jack? But why would she let herself be moved by Ruby to be next to Roger Ap Gwilliam? And if it was to get rid of Roger Ap Gwilliam, why didn't everything go back to normal after he resigned? And also, is this a time loop? Because it seems like Ruby loops back to when she was young and when this episode starts, but it's not a time loop because Ruby says something different. Like, she tells the Doctor to not step on the circle. Like, the TARDIS doesn't even indicate a paradox, and that's how the Doctor knows not to step on the circle. It's just weird and confusing, and the episode has been so great, and then it leaves a sour taste in your mouth because it was like so confusing. This is the most confusing episode of Doctor Who yet. I know I am rambling and maybe not explaining myself well, but if you have watched this episode, you know how confusing it is, how many unanswered questions there are at the end by Ruby. Like, I don't know, is she the 73 yards woman? I don't know. And this episode was amazing. It set up the Welsh horror folk vibe so quickly that it kind of got lost, like a Welsh vibe at the end, and it kind of became more just a normal, like a Curse of Clylenga vibe in this episode. But then it just fumbled the bag from my opinion, at the end. And it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth because there's so many unanswered questions, and I don't think we'll ever get an answer to it. And Russell T Davies said that this was his best writing yet. From my opinion, in season 1, the worst episode has been Space Babies. And 73 yards, it might be controversial, but I say it is worse. And in my opinion, it gets a 5.5 out of 10 for 73 yards. It just absolutely fumbles the ending. It does not land at all, in my opinion, and it's so disappointing because this episode has been great. But that is just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of 73 yards. Am I missing something? Am I being too harsh on it? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, also subscribe, and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.